Welcome back to Resist the Grind. Today we are showing window installation. In this video, I'll try and show you all of the steps we went through for installing these windows. For our Ram Promaster, we were able to source generic RV windows. My wife found these on Amazon and fell in love with them because they had the built-in privacy shades and bug screens. The hard part was they didn't come with instructions. I started by using the box to make a template. So for our first measurement, we had to go with 28 1/4. I've already gone ahead and marked that out. As I mentioned, I always unplug everything just for safety. So I've got to plug in. And trust me, I'm not going to bore you with all of the cuts. We'll just eventually put it on. So since I need two of them the exact same length, I can just put it on top, bring it over, and line them up and cut the next one. Now I have two identical pieces, so they're identical. So now I can do the other side, do two identical pieces the same way, and that way I'm not having to measure everything, then cut it, and try and get them even. I've just done that, saved myself some time. So I made a rookie mistake when I was measuring things out. I just measured what the dimensions were of the window for the ledge to be, and thinking that that would be it. But what happens is I did not leave enough for the overlap there. Rookie mistake. I should have known better, but that's why we do this all dry fitting and make sure everything fits before we start screwing it together. So I have to go cut two new pieces to be able to make them fit. Now that I actually have them cut to the right length, I can use my Kreg screws and glue to put them together. We've gotten this put in. It's somewhat snug, not overly snug. Hopefully it allows for the wood to expand and contract. But now we're going to let this dry. Well, I know a lot of people talk about being paranoid cutting a big hole in the side of their van. What I've decided to do is go ahead and do a test fit. I've got some plywood back there just sitting around. So I'm just going to cut out as if I were cutting into the side of the van and see how it all fits together, because I am paranoid about cutting a big hole in that side of that van. For this practice run, I'm using the same cardboard template to cut out of the plywood. I used my drill in each of the corner areas so that it would be easier for my jigsaw to go in. Then I just cut from one hole to the next. Okay, so I did a mock-up out of some plywood based on the pattern I had made, and it looks like if I go on the inside of the line that I'd cut as opposed to the outside of the line that I'd drawn, it'll work out pretty good. I've gotten my window frame made, and what I've done is gone ahead and trimmed just a little bit about the saw's width, because you can see that there's a lip right here, and my frame's going to go over the top of it. And so that allows me a little bit of wiggle room. One thing that's very important to know if you're using a grinder for metal work or for cutting like we're doing, I've seen a lot of people mistakenly use grinding wheels, which you can see how thick that is, to do their cutting, and they say it's not cutting, it's taking forever. But you can see that as a grinding wheel, as opposed to a cutting wheel, which is much thinner. So you got to make sure you're choosing the right kind of wheel for your grinder in order to do the cutting. If you're trying to smooth it out or to maybe trim it up a little bit to make it a little bit more wide, then you can go to the grinding wheel. But if you're cutting, use a cutting wheel. You'll also want to buy enough blades to have a new one for each window. I have gone around and put a drop cloth down, taped it in place, so now I can do my cutting, hopefully try and catch as many of those shavings as possible. I guess they have put this off long enough. It's time to get chopping. I think before I go all the way through, because I want to make sure I don't burn the metal on the actual door, I'm going to pry it away and actually just put some scrap metal in there to be behind it to keep it a little bit safer. So we'll see, it might just fit right in. There we go. So I've got that as a protective barrier from the other side. We've gotten the bottom part is loose now, so we're just going to go finish the top part. We've gotten the top part loose, and now we just have to break all the glue off behind here. So I did get it to come off. I used a small scalpel and just cut it on one side. Once I got one side somewhat loose, the other side came off pretty easy. Just got to clean this up. After positioning the template exactly where I wanted it, I drilled a hole in the center. I then lined the template up with that hole and traced around it with a Sharpie. I used my calipers to check the distance just to make sure everything was lined up. You'll want to use a good amount of painter's tape to protect your van from the jigsaw. In addition, I used a layer of painter's tape on the face of the jigsaw. Then, just as I had done on the plywood template, I drilled a hole at the beginning and end of each of the curves. This allows you to cut in both directions when going around that curve with your jigsaw. Next comes the terrifying part, cutting into your van. Make sure you wear a face shield to protect your eyes and face from any metal debris. As the piece you're cutting out begins to shake more, it's a good idea to use tape to secure it. I'm home. This is the face of a man who just realized he has a big hole in the side of his van. The next thing I did was a test fit of the window, so I would know where the high spots were to file down. It's not that exciting, so I'll just speed up the video. Anytime you create exposed metal in your van, you'll want to paint it with some Rust-Oleum. So I've got the frame built. I'm pre-drilling all the screws with a drill. The thing I did have to go through and widen my frame just a little bit to get it to fit exactly, but not too bad. So we're almost getting ready to install it. Got a couple more screws to put in. Again, it's important to pre-drill all of your screw holes. It'll make it easier when you lift the window up. I went around the outside of the window with Geocel ProFlex RV window sealant. I also used construction adhesive for the wooden frame. After positioning the window, I used a bunch of clamps to hold it in place. Then I just loosely started all of the screws. At this point, you do not want to tighten them until they are all in place. The shades and screens are a lot of fun to play with. Well, I can definitely see much better at the side now. And I just did a bucket of water over the whole top of the door, going back and forth, and did not see any leak. Knock on wood. As scary as this project was, it is still one for a do-it-yourselfer. We did place the rear window back a little bit so the door would not hit it. And again, we did not have any problems using flat windows on our Promaster. And you can see at night the tinting does a great job with your privacy. We've had several good rains and not a leak in sight. If you like this content, please hit like and subscribe.